Hi everybody, welcome to Highlight Crafts Flower of the Month, and this time we're working with a beautiful sunflower. Sunflowers are actually one of my favourite flowers, just because of how big they grow and all the rest of it. They are just stunning, and I love the fact, little sunflower fact for you, is that when they wake up in the morning, they actually follow the sun round with their head, like that. Follow the sun round, or that way. Which way does the sun come up? Anyway, doesn't matter, irrelevant. And at night time, when they go to sleep, they turn, if there's more than one of them, they turn the flower heads together and look at each other. You watch if you've got sunflowers in your garden what they do. They'll follow the sun, and then at night time, they bring the heads together. I think that's super cute. So, what we're going to do in this one is, I'm going to actually create a stencil. This is said stencil. Look at that. Okay, a little bit different, something a little bit different. So I'm going to use the scan and cut to actually make a tool. Okay, so in the MCS one that I've just done, I had the MCS package making me what I needed for the project. And now I'm going on to the SVGs, and the SVGs are now going to make me the tool that I need to make the project. And I've done it this way because I wanted to show you something a little bit different, not just making a card, it's actually creating something different, because you don't always have to just make backgrounds and cards and things like that. You can have them working for you, making it go further, and then expanding your creativity. Now, I'm just going to touch on this. I'm going to lay this on the front, like so, because I know we've got lots of different new people join us all of the time. Now, the lovely Andrew that helps us film all of this and does all the videography and know all of the big words that I don't understand, we'll pop a link in for this. So when you're working with the SVG files and you print them off, this is what they look like, okay? Not like your normal reflections, okay? So your SVGs have got little black boxes around the outside edge. Now, that is there for a specific reason, okay? Mel, in the link, click the link and it'll take you through, and Mel will talk you through why it's there and how we use it, okay? So I don't need to go through that. However, at the bottom, I will quickly tell you that on all of the sheets for the SVG files, we always put on what the collection is. So it's Flower of the Month. This one is the sunflower, and it's from the Build a Bouquet, and it says small here. Okay, so when you get your SVG files, you actually get 3 different sizes, and it's just a starting point or a jumping off point to help you all out. Because obviously with the scan and cut, you can change the size to whatever you want that'll fit on your either 12 by 12 mat or your 12 by 24 mat if you're working in the bigger scale, and you've got a printer that will print to that size. So yeah, so you can change it in between, but we give you 3 sizes to start off with. We also, with the SVGs, don't just give you 3 sizes, we give you reverse reflections in those 3 sizes, in addition to the decoupage pieces as well, again, in the 3 sizes and in reverse reflections. So we really give you lots to be able to help with your creativity of making your projects and making them yours. So we give you the dies. The dies are 1 size, okay, which is brilliant. I love the dies. That's why it gives me the opportunity to make the projects that we make. But the SVG files, because they are reversed, you can't do that with a die, and they are different sizes. You can't do that with a die either. So that is then expanding your creativity with using the SVG files, which is phenomenal. And then also the Minecraft Studio, you can build up imagery and patterns and things like that as well, which you can't do with the dies, funnily enough. But all 3 work together beautifully. So this is our SVG, and I'm going to make a tool. So the actual machine is making something that I'm then going to create a project with. So this is what we're making. And it couldn't be any easier. It is super fun, really easy to do. It's just, when you've done it, you only do it once, but it's the time consumption that it is of actually making it, okay? So let's go over to the machine and I'll share with you how I came about making my stencil. Now this one I've left at A5, okay? So I'm going to go to my home key and press OK, because whatever was there I don't need. Yeah, cancel it, doesn't matter. So to start off with, I've got my USB in the side of my machine, and I'm going to go to retrieve data to the USB. I've got other things on here as well. I've got SVG Sunflower, flower of the month, which is what I want. I'm going to go into the SVG part, and then it splits it. This is where it starts breaking everything down. That makes it really, really easy to navigate through your USB. We've got Build a Bouquet, which is the one that's got all the separate pieces, and then over the edge is the full sunflower image. Now, to make the stencil, I actually use the Build a Bouquet. Brought that on, and then it breaks it down again. So the matte cuts are actually outline mats. It's what it's like, it is a matte layer. Then I go into the reflections. Okay, so these are the reflection cuts. Once we go into the reflection cuts, it's again broken down again. So we've got those three sizes now that I was talking about: large, original and small. So the large is obviously larger. The original is what the die size would be. And then the small, which is obviously smaller than the die, which is fabulous because that expands what we're able to do with them. So for this one, I chose the small. So I click small, and now again breaks it down even further. So we've got the reflection DEC is decoupage, or the reflection cuts. If I click on there, it'll scroll around and then it brings up this piece, okay? So at this point, don't ever press delete. This is where you just press OK, and that has now set it onto what we refer to as our workable mat, okay? That is now where we can manipulate and change anything that is on the screen. So as you can see, we've got all of those pieces that if I was to scan in my reflection, that's what it would cut out. And then I've also got, edit, if I just jump about, I've got my big A4, that is the rectangle, okay, that would go around it, the black rectangle, but I've used that to my advantage because that's the size that I want my stencil. I've just left it on there. And all the other pieces I've pulled out, okay, so I've moved everything all out the way. I deleted the leaves, okay, so, whoops, I want that piece out, so I put my glasses on. Move the actual floral elements, all like that. So I pulled all the flowers to one side. If you can hear laughing, they're doing a spree next door, so there's lots of giggling going off. So on here now, all of these petals, all of the leaves, I just deleted. I went in one by one, jumped back, delete, and then I just highlighted each piece. Whoops. Jump around. Oh. Like so. And wherever there's a leaf, I deleted the leaf, okay? Then what I did, I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring on the saved item. So I used my rectangle, popped that back over there, and then I started bringing on my pieces of my flower one by one and spacing them out. So I'm going to go home, cancel that, go into retrieve data onto my USB, and this is what I created. So I'm going to set that on my mat, okay? As you can see, I've left it ungrouped. So from what you saw me before, all I did was delete all the leaves. I didn't want the leaves. And I've brought on all of these. If I go, you can see they're all the pieces from the flower heads, okay? From that Build a Bouquet piece. But I've not left them all the same orientation. So, such as this one that is the actual head, the bud or the side view, I went into Object Edit and into Rotate, and I just moved them round slightly. So I've got them all different orientations, upside down, all over, because I wanted it to be very random. And then on the others, such as this one, I've got several of those on here, but I went back into Object Edit, into Sizing, and I just made them slightly smaller. Some I made a little bit bigger and put a little plus on it. Others I went back into again and changed the sizing. So some of them I've changed the sizing and gone smaller or bigger. And then the ones with the stem, I changed the orientation and moved them around, which one then gave me something that was very, very random. Now, if I wanted to, I can group this together, but I've kept it separate so I can now still go back in and manipulate it. All you then have to do is lay on, oops, piece of white cardstock and cut it out. Really, really easy, super easy. It doesn't take very long. Then it does give you, this is good. So this is where the tool, the Scan and Cut, is now making me tools. Now I chose to make this out of just a piece of cardstock, 250, 300 GSM, because I'm just going to stencil through it. It's not something, and then I've already saved it. If you wanted to have something that was a bit more substantial, the Scan and Cut does cut out of Mylar, okay? Or the acetate you can cut it out of if you wanted to make a stencil that was a little bit more longer lasting. But I find when I'm making my stencils, I change them quite a bit very often as well. So just out of cardstock means that I can use it and throw it away, especially if I'm using lots of stencil spray, because they do get a little bit grubby using the spray, so then I can just chuck it away, and I'm not chucking Mylar or anything like that away. It's just a piece of cardstock. However, what you then also get is this. So these are the pieces that have all fallen out of this, okay? So you can then either ink these and put them in the background. So this is where the love of mixed media for me comes from. I'm just getting my tweezers so I can keep my fingers out the way. So these are also then just imagery, okay? They're just blanks in the background. So once I've actually used my stencil, I can then layer these up. I haven't got a piece of coloured. In fact, I have. I'll pop it on here. So just imagine I've stenciled that, and I can now go in and still use these pieces to build a bouquet, because at the end of the day, you can still tell okay, you could, whoops, that way around. Andrew's waffling, he's telling me, he's giving me ideas, but then he's gone off the idea of what he was telling me. So I need to, what were you going to say? Come on, let's hear it. Yes, I understand. So what Andrew is saying, that if you left it like so and cut those out, you could, and then that would be your stencil, but they're not random. Okay, so that's why I've broken them up and moved them around, and also they're that size. All of the pieces are then that size, but you can still do that. There's nothing stopping you. I always look at what is left behind with the Scan and Cut. Always look at what's left behind on the Scan and Cut, because very often you will find just even that little bit is good enough for a little stencil over the edge on a piece of paper, because it is still quite random. But I wanted something that was quite big this time, so I've made a whole big stencil, because I know that I already knew the project that I had in mind that I was working it with. But again, silhouettes, tuck-ins, and then one thing you can do is, because you've got a few of them, if you find the ones that are the right size, glue them together like this one, make them thicker so they're like chipboard elements, lay them down onto a canvas and glue them in place, and then rice paper over the top. Okay, I think I'm explaining it right to you all. So if you had a canvas that you were working on, we've glued at certain elements together to make them thicker, so they're thicker pieces, like I say, almost like a chipboard. Glue them on in a design in the background, or random, it's entirely up to you. Then when you put your rice paper on top, if you then go in with your brush and push the rice paper in against these chipboard elements because they're thicker, it's actually almost like an embossing. So it's a faux emboss in the background. So then you can then go on to do lots of it. You put your stencil back on, all sorts of different things. But don't ever throw away when you make a stencil. Keep your pieces, because you never know how handy all of this can come in. So I've kept all of my little bits. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. So if you're ever making anything, keep everything that comes off the machine, because there's so much more that you can then go on and work with. So thank you for joining me. A little bit different this time, making tools, making the tool make our tools for us. So make sure you watch the MCS video as well, and then also watch the last final video. I don't know whether this is going to be labelled 1, 2 or 3, but the actual die video is not the MCS one, not the SVG, but the third one, okay? So the other one is where you're going to actually see everything come together. So in that one, you'll see me use my SVG pieces, you'll see me use the MCS element and all the dies all together to make one thing. So thank you very much for joining me. Come along to the other video and see what we get up to in that one. And I'll see you all again real soon. Bye.
If you would like to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications on all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.